20-year-old Jordan Williams from St. Albans, Queens, is now over. Williams was arrested and charged with manslaughter for stabbing 36-year-old Victor Udrago to death on a J train in Brooklyn 2 weeks ago. From the beginning, Williams said he acted in self-defense.
I was scared in that situation.
All right, in the aftermath of the Daniel Penny incident, a lot of people ask, well, what if Daniel Penny, the white guy, happened to be black? Well, we have the answer to that because this is Jordan Williams, not Neely, but Jordan Williams. Now, Jordan Williams was riding the train and insane, crazy person came on the train and Mr. Williams stabbed him to death in quote-unquote self-defense. But we'll see how that case was handled differently than the case of Daniel Penny. Strap up. It's going to be interesting. Okay, so with this story with Jordan Williams, we're going to start with the body cam footage. You have men on the train who are harassing passengers, but they're not harassing passengers threatening to kill them, just the normal kind of lunatic harassment that happens on the train. You'll see. No one's being threatened to be killed or anything like that, but you'll see how things escalate to one person is eventually stabbed.
Yo, you understand what I'm saying to you? Stop it. No, you see this? Why don't we put that man?
Now I'm stopping it here because this is like normal stuff that happens in New York. I've ridden the subway for many, many years, and you have people like this that come around and beg for change and, you know, will say stuff to you and all that stuff. But again, this is no reason why someone should be stabbed, right? This guy's just essentially just walking around. They seem to be intoxicated, and they're not saying, we're gonna kill everybody on the train, and I'm looking to go to jail, and I'm gonna kill, and I'm not taking no for an answer. None of that's going on here. It seems pretty quiet. Now, one of the two homeless men goes over to Jordan Williams and his girlfriend and slaps his girlfriend in the face. And then this happens. So now, as you see from this camera footage, the two men are in the corner struggling, and one of those men pulls out a knife and then stabs the other guy.
This is an accessible station. The elevator is at the center of the platform.
Sorry. Stop. I just stabbed that shit in Lincoln. That's you stabbed him? Holy shit. You're gonna go to jail. Hey. You're gonna go to jail. Hey.
So I think it's important to understand the differences between the two cases. In this case, you saw those two guys, they weren't belligerently telling people they're going to kill them and all that stuff like Jordan Neely did. What they were doing was, you know, harassment. And what's harassment? Oh, you know, this, but it wasn't anything violent. And then eventually somebody got pissed off, they got into a struggle, and somebody happened to die. Where in the Daniel Penny case, all the passengers said this guy was acting as if he was going to harm people. I was protecting my child. He said he was going to go to jail, and he was not going to take no for an answer. All of that stuff matters. So in one case, you had someone who was obviously saying they're going to kill everybody on the train. That person was stopped by multiple passengers. And then this other one, Jordan Williams' girlfriend gets slapped in the face by a homeless guy, and he pulls out a knife and stabs the guy to death. Now, what's going to happen? Well, the Brooklyn DA is going to charge the man who stabbed the homeless guy with manslaughter, but since he has a weapon, he's going to be facing 25 years of life because he not only killed them, but he killed them with a weapon that he wasn't really supposed to have. You're not supposed to walk around New York with knives above 4 inches. So I'm not sure how long his knife is, but if you kill somebody with a weapon, that enhances the penalty. So Jason Williams, who happens to be black, is facing 25 years in jail for killing this unarmed black man on the train.
All right, buckle up. Marine veteran Danny Penny will be arraigned June 28th in Manhattan Supreme Court. You heard about this. This following a grand jury indictment for the subway death of a homeless man, Jordan Neely. Meanwhile, it doesn't end there. Jordan Williams, the man accused of fatally stabbing an ex-con who was attacking his girlfriend, according to a myriad of witnesses, during a different subway struggle, now facing 25 years for manslaughter following an emotional hearing in Brooklyn. Dr. Darren Porcher is now a former NYPD lieutenant and retired U.S. Army official. official, criminal justice expert. So, Darren, you have two citizens who wanted just to use the subway and ended up fighting for their life. And both find themselves indicted by a grand jury. Both have been charged by the city. First off, let's start with what we know about Jordan Williams. What do you think about this case?
I think that we had an innocent citizen that was stepping to the defense of his girlfriend and is being persecuted by the criminal justice system. And I think that this is inappropriate. I don't think he should have been charged in the first place, but welcome to New York.
Welcome to New York, where we're about 2,000 cops down, where the cops have not been empowered to maybe take preemptive action. No more stop and frisk. So this guy gets on a train and he creates havoc. So in a fight for his survival, thankfully Jordan Williams wins, and now he's going to ultimately pay the price. Here, I hope not. I hope he's exonerated. Jason Goldman is his attorney. Listen.
I still ride the subway. I'm sure many of you do too. And we've seen what's happened. And as I said to the judge, you have two choices right now. You can sit there and get assaulted, and your friends or family or loved ones can get assaulted and seriously injured, or you can fight back and get arrested and maybe get charged, maybe go to Rikers, maybe get released. So, what are you supposed to do? Which option are you supposed to take?
Okay, that lawyer sounds like he's representing Daniel Penny, right? You could change that black guy out and put Daniel Penny up there, right? Because it's the same argument, except Daniel Penny didn't use a knife. He just held the guy down, and the assumption was that he died of a chokehold. But even a medical examiner wasn't really sure Jordan nearly died of a chokehold. But in this particular case, there's no question. He was stabbed to death, right? And this guy said, yeah, I stabbed him, right? And look at him leaking and blah, 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 that type of thing. This guy was okay that he had killed him. So I do agree with Fox News. If this was self-defense, you can prove that this guy attacked Mr. Williams and his girlfriend. Okay, you have a self-defense claim. But what about the stabbing? Should this guy have lost his life because he's yelling at this guy and his girlfriend? No, right? No, that would be the same argument that BLM made. Just because somebody yelling and harassing people on the street doesn't mean they should die. Same thing here. If this guy doesn't have a knife, the other guy's probably going to be alive, but he did have a knife. So what happens? Do you think race plays an issue on who goes to trial and who doesn't go to trial? Because again, both of these DAs are, one's Manhattan DA, one's a Brooklyn DA. Both are city DAs. They both charged both the black guy and the white guy. So you have some consistency here. But what happens with this guy, Mr. Williams, when he goes to the grand jury? Well, the grand jury said, we know he was carrying a knife. We're not going to charge him. We're going to exonerate him at the grand jury. We're not even going to let you get to a trial because this seems clearly self-defense. Even though he had a knife, we're going to call it self-defense.
They're now dropped against Jordan Williams. That's the man who had been charged with fatally stabbing a fellow passenger on a J train earlier this month.
Yeah, Brooklyn grand jury declined to indict, determining he acted in self-defense. Fox 5's Briella Tomasetti joins us now with the very latest. Good morning, Briella.
Yeah, Dan and Tashani, bottom line, Jordan Williams has said this is a decision he will regret every single day for the rest of his life. Jason Goldman, who represents Williams, said it's never a joyous occasion when a life is lost, but Jordan and his loved ones are grateful and relieved that the grand jury saw this for exactly what it was.
Honestly, I was afraid.
1 week after Jordan Williams and his lawyer Jason Goldman spoke with us exclusively on Good Day New York, a grand jury has dropped all charges against him. Williams, just 20 years old, was accused of fatally stabbing a homeless man on a J train earlier this month and subsequently charged with manslaughter. Williams testified before the grand jury for about 45 minutes, saying that he acted in self-defense after the victim, Victor Udrago, punched his girlfriend in the face. Video filmed by another passenger and shown to the grand jury reportedly corroborated that.
All I wanted to do was just get me and my girlfriend off the train safely.
The Brooklyn DA's office released this statement, reading in part that its investigation, quote, included review of multiple videos and interviews with all available witnesses, and that evidence was fairly presented to a grand jury.
Okay, so now the difference in these two cases, I think, is pretty simple. In one case, you had the homeless person execute the threat of physical force. Now, it wasn't deadly physical force. Punching somebody is not deadly physical force, it's just physical force. And he punched this guy's girlfriend. Now, this guy, Jordan Williams, then took out a knife and stabbed him to death. So he reacted to physical force with deadly physical force, which generally is not allowed. But in this case, you can say it's clearly self-defense. He's defending his girlfriend from some maniac on a train who's harassing other people. And you saw the level of harassment. Where I think in Jordan Neely's case, Jordan Neely is the person with Daniel Penny. In Jordan Neely's case, Jordan Neely came and was threatening imminent physical force, imminent deadly physical force. I'm going to kill people. I don't mind doing a life sentence. I'm not going to take no for an answer. And even what some of the witnesses said, he started lunging at them. Well, for self-defense, you don't have to wait to be stabbed, to be punched, to be hit, to employ self-defense. The imminent threat of force, you can use force to repel that. And that's what happened in the Daniel Penny case. He used physical force to repel this guy's deadly physical force of threatening to kill people and held him. Now, in both cases, the person died. But in the case with the black guy, guess what? We're going to let him go even though he used deadly physical force and stabbed the guy to death. Where in Daniel Penny's case, we're going to say, well, we're going to make him go to trial. And technically, it's really because he's white. Because in both situations, all the witnesses on the train said the same thing, right? These guys are heroes. These guys were defending people. Just in one case, the guy happens to be white. In the other case, the guy happens to be black. But listen to what happens when other people are confronted with this anomaly. The fact that these situations happen very close to each other, but they seem to be being treated very differently, right? Nobody's marching in the street for the guy who Jordan Williams stabbed. No one's marching. BLM probably doesn't even know who that guy is. Don't even care about his name. But against Daniel Penny, they do.
I said, what about the Jordan Williams case here in New York? Same situation, African-American gets on a subway, ends up killing a guy, grand jury tosses it out at the exact same time as the Penny case.
But that's different because he used the same weapon that the alleged victim had.
I hate stopping people in mid-sentence, but she's lying about the facts of the case. In the Jordan Williams case, Jordan Williams was the person who brought a knife to the scene.
This actually hasn't come out yet, but a few weeks ago, before this incident, there was a woman who actually put a knife right into my eye. So she literally had it inches from me. Yes. So that honestly is what scared me into starting to carry. And
I was wondering why you were carrying a knife.
Yes.
And it was because of that particular.
And Jordan Williams was charged with weapons violation, but obviously the grand jury didn't charge, so it's legal for him. But that knife, he was charged with carrying an illegal weapon, weapons charges, because he had the knife. Victim had no knife. The only person that had a knife was Jordan Williams. And I understand why she has to lie, because she can't say that it's obvious that it's the same case, right? So she has to lie to try to win this point. Now, I don't know why she's lying. I don't know why she pretends to know the facts of the case, but the only knife in the Jordan Williams case was Jordan Williams's knife, the one used to kill the victim in that particular case. So just so we're all clear, she is lying on CNN, and they're not going to fact check her, but I think it's important for you to understand she's lying about the facts of the case.
So he was using his own weapon. He was met with deadly physical force. Jordan Neely, all he had in his pocket was a muffin.
All right.
Now, just to be clear, what she's saying is obviously not true. The victim in the Jordan Williams case didn't have a knife. He didn't. The person who bought the knife was Jordan Williams. And I still agree with the verdict that he shouldn't have been charged, and that, hey, that's self-defense. Somebody's beating up your girlfriend, you got to do what you got to do to stop that, right? Self-defense, no doubt about it. But you can't lie to the people. Why is she lying to the public? And CNN's not going to fact check her. Why? Because CNN is okay with her lying about the facts of the case. So at the end of the day, I want you to tell me where I'm wrong in this particular case. I think both these men should have been acquitted. I think both these men didn't do anything wrong. I believe that self-defense is a thing, and I believe if you believe Jordan Williams is guilty of self-defense after he pulled a knife and stabbed somebody for hitting his girlfriend, then I think you should also believe Daniel Penny is not guilty because he employed self-defense to save other black people. But you won't hear BLM marching for Jordan Williams' victim. You won't hear them saying that Jordan Williams' victim was unhoused. You won't hear them saying that Jordan Williams' victim was unarmed. You won't hear them saying any of that. You won't hear them saying, oh, people harass people on the train all the time, right? Why? Because he happens to be black. And you'll get the reverse for Jordan Neely, right? Jordan Neely was an angel. Jordan Neely, he was a Michael Jackson impersonator, but he was threatening people on a train and saying he was going to kill them. And 3 people stopped him. And the only one that was charged was the white guy. When is the prosecution and our society, when are we going to just understand the facts should matter more than these people's skin tone? That's what I'll leave you with today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all the great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'm out. Peace.